But the new tone can't erase images over the last few days of police driving armored vehicles wearing riot gear, camouflage, and black helmets, carrying assault weapons and gas masks, and using tear gas on Al Jazeera America news crew. Those images are raising new questions about the militarization of America's state and local police forces. On Thursday, the president warned there is, quote, no excuse for police to use excessive force against peaceful protests. Attorney General Eric Holder released a statement saying, quote, at a time when we must seek to rebuild trust between law enforcement and the local community, I am deeply concerned that the deployment of military equipment and vehicles sends a conflicting message. Across the political spectrum, an unusual coalition of Democrats and Libertarian Republicans raised concerns about the fact that the streets of Ferguson were looking like a war zone. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul wrote in a Time op-ed, quote, we must demilitarize the police, saying anyone who thinks that race does not still, if even inadvertently, skew the application of criminal justice in this country is just not paying close enough attention. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeted, this is America, not a war zone. Across the country in Chicago, Miami, Raleigh, Portland, and New York City, thousands have gathered to protest police tactics. So how did we end up here? For over a decade, federal programs that began or were expanded in response to the September 11th attacks have transferred the weapons of war from the battlefields to state and local police departments. According to the New York Times, the $360,000 Bearcat armored truck on patrol in Ferguson was paid for by the Department of Homeland Security. It was grant money. Since 2003, DHS has spent $9.4 million in St. Louis County for the Bearcat, 2 helicopters, night vision equipment, and body armor. The Pentagon has given St. Louis County 2 helicopters and a rotorcraft, as well as 8 utility vehicles and night vision equipment. That's through what's called its excess property program, also known as the 1033 program, which gives equipment, including weapons, to law enforcement agencies. $4.3 billion of it since it was established in the early 1990s to fight the war on drugs. Compared with other urban areas, St. Louis County has received less surplus equipment, according to Pentagon data crunched by the New York Times. Since 2006, more than 432 MRAPs, 435 other armored vehicles, 535 aircraft, 44,900 night vision pieces, 93,000 machine guns, and 180,000 magazines have ended up in the hands of state and local law enforcement. Many of those have gone to smaller rural or suburban communities. The Pentagon defends the program. A defense official told NBC News, quote, it is prudent to allow law enforcement agencies to use MARPs versus scrapping them or allowing them to sit in storage. But now Congress is responding. On Thursday, Georgia Democrat Hank Johnson said it's time to scale back the Pentagon program. And Congressman Johnson joins me now to talk about this. And Congressman Johnson, this is a bill you've been working on for some time. Obviously, the issue has gone to the forefront after what's happened in Ferguson over the last few days. Give us just a quick review. Do you believe that this bill, which would really set some tough precedent for the military to give these types of weapons to local police forces, do you think it has a chance to move forward in Congress?
Well, I believe that what we're getting now with the visuals that have been displayed on TV, I believe that the American people and their legislators have seen the results of the militarization. And that militarization creates the type atmosphere where it's difficult, if not impossible, to do community policing. You want to be able to reach out and grab someone and hug them, as opposed to stand there like a robot in full armor with a gas mask on. You can't even talk to your citizens. And so it's completely over the top in terms of its usefulness at that current situation in Missouri. And it is something that, you know, militarization of our streets is not something that is akin to the democratic form of government that we have here in this country.
Now, there's, if you look at the issue, some folks say this might not make any sense in a place like St. Louis County. But in cities like New York, like Los Angeles, like Chicago, like Washington, that face real terrorism threats, this type of program does have some merit. Do you agree that it does have some merit, or do you think it should be completely stopped?
Well, I believe that we've got to get civilians back in control of the acquisition of equipment for the police departments in the country. When we have the DOD program, the 1033 program that can transfer without cost directly to a local or small law enforcement agency, even a state campus police agency can have an MRAP. Totally unnecessary. But when you have that element of the agency being able to apply to the DOD to receive the free surplus military equipment without any boundary as to the type of equipment that can be acquired, then you're moving away from civilian control over the police department. And so what the bill that I'm going to introduce will do is to put some limits on this 1033 program. It will ban the acquisition or the transfer of automatic weapons of 50 caliber or more weaponry, armored vehicles, armored drones, silencers, stun grenades, just a plethora of equipment that if a local law enforcement department should have it, then the citizens' representatives should allocate money to pay for that equipment. You can purchase that equipment on the open